Federal government launches pilot phase of National Vehicle Registration Project, as it also sets to begin the fourth round of Micro, Small and Medium Scale Enterprises Survey. ECOWAS Commission targets 2025 to meet rice demand. Plus, U.S. counsels OPEC to pump more oil to cut prices. This is Business Express reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. I am Benny Adams, your guide. Good to have you join us on the business side of life. And we'll start by telling you that vehicle owners in Nigeria will soon heave a sigh of relief from frequent car theft, as the federal government has commenced the implementation of the National Vehicle Registration to address vehicle-related crimes, customs duty evasion, and revenue leakages. NECAOCO reports that the pilot phase of the project has kicked off at the Nigeria Customs Service Kirikiri Light Terminal.
Data from the National Bureau of Statistics indicate that between 2015 and 2020, Nigeria annually imports about 400,000 vehicles with an average of 48% increase in imports annually, while an additional 45% are smuggled into the country evading duty payment. 40% of these vehicles are stolen. That is about to change. The Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, at the sensitization seminar says the single database for vehicle identification numbers will help curb security threats arising from vehicle theft as well as maximize revenue for the country.
It is also important to note that the National Vehicle Registration System will, among others, serve a single source of validation at the point of vehicle registration while capturing and storing all vehicular information over the life cycle of every vehicle for the purpose of effective motor vehicle registration and administration, ensuring the enforceability of penalties placed on vehicles by regulators across board, and ensuring accurate monitoring, documentation, and tracking of vehicle activities across the nation to enhance national security.
This seminar is expected to keep stakeholders in vehicle registration and revenue-generating agencies abreast of the workings of the new platform. In Abuja, NECAOCO.
And the Bankers Committee has raised the alarm that bank customers have started abusing the ban on the sale of foreign exchange by bureau de change. Rising from their meeting Thursday, the bankers said they have seen incidences of customers presenting fake documents such as expired passports, invalid flight tickets, or open tickets that are cancelled after they require the Forex. Some bank customers have been accused of requesting for Forex in excess of what they require. On how the Forex market is doing since the ban, the committee urged bank customers to consider putting their Forex in cards, as the Bankers Committee is considering digitizing the process. Banks and their staff are being held accountable if Forex infractions are traced to them, while the CBN is holding the banks themselves on a short leash to prevent fraudulent activities by the banks when transacting Forex deals. The last national survey of MSMEs in the country indicates that micro, small and medium enterprises contributed 49.78% to GDP and 7.6% to total export. That was 3 years ago. Now it's another time for such a survey, and the federal government, through the National Bureau of Statistics, is set to carry out an update of the MSME survey in collaboration with Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency, SMEDEN. SMEDEN and the NBS, at a press briefing heralding the fourth national survey, stressed that in order to boost the MSME sector, which is the bedrock of the economy, current and accurate data on MSMEs for local and international references is needed.
The compelling need to have an updated survey on the MSME subsector is further justified by the reviewed national policy on MSME and recent socio-economic development and global occurrence such as the COVID-19 pandemic. The cycles of economic recession and unending terrorist and kidnapping and banditry activity in our nation. We hereby solicit for the cooperation of all the actors in the MSME space, as our enumerators will soon come to administer the questionnaires to the various stakeholders.
The survey will capture current data on MSMEs in Nigeria in line with the revised national policy on MSMEs, contribution of MSMEs to national GDP, gender composition of MSMEs, and the possible impact of COVID-19 on businesses, among others.
Government to look inward into those sectors within the MSMEs that are making impact into our GDP in such a manner to strengthen them, and also to look at those that are not making much contribution to the GDP and bring them up to speed, so that we'll be covering 2 years, which is 2019 and 2020 economic activities of selected micro, small and medium enterprises across the 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. In this current round of the survey, we are introducing a new module, a new concept, which we call nano enterprises.
The exercise will commence with data collection on 16th August with training the field staff, while other activities will commence on the 21st August with the report expected to be ready and released to the public by November 2021. And the ECOWAS Commission has set a target of 2025 for the region to meet the rice demand of the people. The initiative, which is under the framework of the ECOWAS agricultural policy, is aimed at boosting the local production, processing, and marketing of the produce across member nations. 13 out of the 15 member states, including Nigeria, have adopted the strategy with a view to meeting the 2025 target. A technical meeting under the Rice Initiative that took place in Abuja, Nigeria's capital, seeks more support for Nigeria to improve her production. This, they believe that if Nigeria is self-sufficient in rice, half of the region will as well meet the least 50% of their demand.
It is a holistic approach to dealing with the issue of food insecurity, and with this, it's contributing in a way to ECOWAS overall to ensure that there is food security, there is food sovereignty, and we improve the livelihood of farmers, and also in turn we improve the economy, the local economy of the various countries in West Africa.
50% of ECOWAS 15 member states population are living here in Nigeria. So it's a huge market. And also 70%, more or 60% or 70% of the economy is Nigeria, is made by Nigeria. So it means a lot of things. If we achieve the self-sufficiency of the rice sufficiency in Nigeria, we will have meet our own target as ECOWAS region.
Other countries are sabotaging the effort of the federal government of Nigeria by allowing import into their country. Excess import of foreign rice from Thailand, from India, from Southwest Asia, all over the places land in their countries, and then they into Nigeria. unofficially, they evade duty, they don't pay tariff, they distort the whole program, the whole of arrangement of the federal government. So
And over the past 1 year, there has been the pushback from many financial regulators worldwide around the use and exchange of digital currencies. Reports say about 80% of central banks globally are currently exploring the possibility of issuing their central bank digital currency, and Nigeria could not be left behind. So in June this year, the Apex Bank announced plans to launch its own digital currency before the close of this year. Digital currencies and the economy is the focus of our discussion on the program today. And our guest is Hamza Ajijola. He is the CEO of Trino Studio in the UK. You are welcome to Business Express.
Thank you for having me, sir.
Okay, Ajijola, can you give us an insight into this digital currency regime that we're talking about? The world is far of it. Nigeria is catching up. What is it all about?
Well, digital currency is the next logical evolution of currency that started from cash to cowries to cards, and now we have the digital currency. Its difference is that it is accounted for and transferred using mobile phones, laptops, and other devices as opposed to cash. Most digital currency around the world is tied to the price of Bitcoin at the moment. However, in the next phase of deployment, we'll see different aspects of it.
Okay, are we saying the naira we have, like the notes,
Yes,
are now going digital rather than the coins? Will it, okay, take for instance,
yes,
the e-naira that
yes,
Nigeria seeks to get to launch before the end of the year.
yes.
Would our currency just move from the naira with its value to the digital currency?
Possibly. You see, at the moment, we have types of digital currency already. The cards that you use to pay at the machine is a digital type of transfer in the medium. The difference is that rather than being backed by an actual cash supply, it will be backed by code.
By a code?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, do we actually need these digital currencies?
I think
Are we ripe for these codes?
Yes, I believe that we're ripe for it in the sense that if you look at M-Pesa in Kenya, they use that mobile technology as an opportunity to leapfrog the West. And I think digital currency provides us with a similar opportunity like that to get ahead of the Western people. If you create an Africa-wide digital currency, certainly we can have a fresh start or a blank slate, essentially, for our currency and our exchange rate issues.
Okay, what do you think about the central bank proposed e-naira?
I'm in complete support of it. However, I would urge the central bank as a leader in Africa to consider working with other central banks around Africa to make this currency Africa-wide in general. Because if you do that, you can create a great equalizer for businesses and for the poor around Africa to be able to relate with each other. And long-term business itself demands that the prices of currency be stable, or the exchange rates of currency rather be stable.
Okay, how prepared do you think Nigeria is for this, particularly the central bank?
I think we're very ready. I think if you notice, before the cryptocurrency ban, Nigeria was one of the highest adopters of digital currency in Africa, and indeed the second largest in the world. So in my personal opinion, the youth have been there already. It is up for the society and the regulators to now catch up, but we are ready to take it on.
Okay, can you give us insight into transactions, how this cryptocurrency works before we get to see our e-naira? Some trade it as commodities, some is more like some exchange. You can't do transaction in the open market with it. How does it actually work? Break it down.
Well, digital currencies work differently, but most cryptocurrencies work on a peer-to-peer network that the computers on the network all have to agree with each other, and they agree about a transaction, and when that transaction is agreed, it is noted on a ledger that all those computers sharing can see. So this increases transparency, and it also increases security for these currencies.
Okay, talking about security, whether security in its crypto end to end, we understand that
Yes.
it's crypto from one end to another.
Yes.
How safe is it in general? How safe in such transactions?
I believe that it is very safe. I believe that it is much safer than most forms of transactions that we do today, just because all the computers on that network have to agree with each other. And if there's no agreement, then the transaction is not done. You understand? Recently, there was a heist of about 600 million.
I was about to ask that.
Yes.
And that was just to prove that the system can actually be hacked. Since the hacker said he doesn't need the money,
Well,
he's about to return the money. So how come this is possible? Since before now we are told it is not possible to hack into the system, particularly if you are not part of the chain.
Well, there's a slight misconception in this. Now, I'm going to start by saying most of the errors in a system that is built are human errors. Just today morning, the Poly network, who was the network that was hacked, confirmed that the vulnerability was because one of the keeper's details was let out to the public. But more on that, the hack was actually not done on the blockchain technology. The blockchain technology itself is still infallible. However, the contracts, the smart contracts, let me put it like this. The blockchain technology is an accountant in a basement, right? That is allocating money everywhere. But he has an oga at the top roof that tells him where to allocate that money at the top floor. If this oga is now swapped out by somebody else, the accountant that is locked in the basement will not know that the oga has been swapped out and just allocates the money anyhow. So this keeper whose details were gotten, it was used as a smart contract system to then hack, well, not really hack into the blockchain, but hack into the smart contracts, which then tell the blockchain where to allocate its money.
Okay, that's to say there is room for, there are leakages, and if people from out there get to understand these leakages, people can actually lose their investments in this kind of transaction?
No, you see, for Bitcoin itself, there are no such leakages because Bitcoin does not have smart contracts. Do you understand? But for other applications like Ethereum, like Shiba, the Poly network uses smart contracts to tell the network where to allocate funds. It is that smart contract that was now hacked into.
So now that we are going into the e-naira, what should we look out for? Should we go the cryptocurrency way or the Ethereum way or the Bitcoin way? Which way should we go? It seems you're really an expert in this slide. You know it in detail. So which way do you advise we should go?
Well, I believe, well, Bitcoin by nature is already a decentralized currency, and the CBDC cannot be a decentralized currency. It has to be a centralized currency. But the way to go, of course, is to always keep your door locked. I mean, even if you lock a door, a thief will be able to get in. However, if you extra lock it, it will make it harder for them to break in, and the objective is to make it harder for them to break in. As of today, only 0.08% of Nigeria's GDP has been stolen due to cybercrime in general. So you see, it is still relatively safe in the long term and in the larger sense of things.
So you're like saying investors should not be scared in investing into such currencies. Peradventure, the e-naira comes to play.
I think they should be smart about it.
How can they be smart?
By seeking advice from where to invest from organizations such as TriNew, but also by learning. Knowledge is key and knowledge is power. If you learn about it, then you know that there are certain aspects of it that are infallible, and then you trust those aspects. You don't go to a fraudulent website. You don't leave your information out in the open. You have what we call cyber hygiene. You understand? So that's just the key to it.
A little details into this cyber hygiene and how to go about it, please, before I let you go.
Again, at the end of the day, human infrastructure is always the weak link, you understand? Cyber hygiene is having passwords, very secure passwords, not using your family's name or anything easily
or your date of birth.
Or anything easily guessable as your password.
Okay.
Not leaving your device out in the open for people to be able to get it. Not clicking on phishing, farming and spamming websites and things like that. You know, the tech space in Nigeria is a really budding one. We've seen recently 3 unicorns, the InterSwitch, Jumia, Flutterwave, that are valued at nearly over $1 billion. So really, this is the way to go. There's clearly money in it, and there's clearly room for Nigeria to grow and to be able to take space as a giant of the world. So,
well, with knowledge available, we can do better.
yes.
Thank you so very much, Hamza Ajijola, CEO, Trino Studio in the UK. Thanks for sharing insight.
Thank you very much, sir.
Well, moving on, we move to the commodities market where oil prices fell for a second day this Friday after the International Energy Agency warned that demand growth for crude and its products had slowed sharply. Brent crude was down 58 cents at $70.33 a barrel after dropping 13 cents in the previous session. U.S. crude was off by 65 cents at $68.44 a barrel, having fallen 0.2% on Thursday. The benchmarks are little changed this week. U.S. OPEC must pump more oil to cut prices. OPEC on Thursday also stuck its prediction of a strong recovery in world oil demand in 2021 and future growth next year, despite concerns about the spread of the Delta coronavirus variant that has weighed on prices. The Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries in a monthly report also raised its forecast of supply from rivals, including U.S. shale producers, and a potential headwind for the efforts of the group and allies to balance their market. The report says oil demand will rise by 5.92 billion barrels per day this year, while fuel use will expand by 3.28 million barrels per day in 2022. Gold prices dropped this week, and analysts predict they will keep falling. How are commodities on the global market? Stock futures inched higher on Friday as Asian markets slipped. Neka Oko has a summary of performance on the global market.
Hello and welcome to the global market segment. Let's begin from Europe, where stocks headed for the longest streak of record closes since 1999 as strong earnings and economic reopenings boosted clinical and luxury markets. Germany's DAX inched up 0.43% at 16,006.52. London's FTSE added 0.26%, while CAC 40 of France gained 0.28%. Most Asian markets slipped as the spread of the Delta COVID-19 variant and China's regulatory curbs restrained sentiment. In Japan, the Nikkei 225 closed 0.14% down at 27,977.15. The Shanghai Composite dipped 0.24%, while Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index depreciated 0.48%. U.S. equities were steady in early deals Friday after the S&P 500 hit fresh peak. The Dow Jones Industrial Average added 0.15%, the S&P 500 0.07%, and Nasdaq 100 appreciated 0.03%. And in Africa, stocks struggled for gains in early trade. South Africa's JSE Africa Top 40 declined 0.04%, while Kenya, Tunisia, and Namibia hovered above the flat line, and Ghana's GSE Composite was flat. And that's global markets. It's back to the presenter.
Well, the US dollar edged higher on Friday, on track for a second subsequent or consecutive weekly gain versus its major rivals, as investors weighed the possibility of the Federal Reserve announcing its plans to reduce its stimulus in the coming weeks. A look at the exchange rate next. That wraps the last edition of Business Express for the week. Remember to keep in touch with us by sending in your comments, observations, and suggestions. Also, be informed that all previous episodes are available on YouTube on the NTA's channel. Join us again next week. Be safe out there.